Good everyone, welcome to this video, and today it's a review on the Ostwind II. To put it simply, if you want to have the world's shortest review of this vehicle, I wouldn't bother with it. So keep all the Wirbelwind as I said in the Ostwind review. There you go, world's shortest review. Only joking. That that would be uncharacteristic of my person. But let's just say, I think this thing is a bit of a pointless upgrade. Now, before I even get into the battle and everything and describe the tank, I'm going to go over what people think, like, what people have been saying about this vehicle. So it's long been debated that this vehicle is either, well, only one was built or none was built. Now, I'm going to be brutally honest, I don't know. But if I was to make an assumption, judging by the evidence that I have seen, I would say one was built. Now, the reason why I say that is because I found more sources that have indicated the one being built than none being built. And even then, it would be rather ironic because this vehicle was meant to replace the Corellian. Now, if you're not sure what the Corellian is, it's one of the few AA that I actually cared about. And it's essentially on a Panther chassis. Now, this vehicle technically wasn't built properly built either. It's only a wooden mock-up. And essentially, it was an attempt to make was it a Panther G hull? Or was it Panther F? I can't remember. I think it was a G. It was a Panther G hull, as far as I remember. And essentially, it was done to. Well, they wanted to get more historical accuracy in the game, which is why the Tiger 2 105 got removed, the Panther 2 got removed. So if you still have the vehicles or you started researching them, you can still research them if that makes any sense. Because obviously, I'm not going to get into the discussion of how a long 88 could load into that. Because well, I mean, if you look at the shells, I mean that tells you everything. But yeah, I don't think this turret could realistically reload a 88mm, but I'm not going to get into that discussion. Let's just say that. The turret of the Panther 2, which is the F turret, the Schmaltum turret, that's a discussion for when I spade the Panther F, which I'm currently working on. But anyway, back to the Ostwind 2. So the Ostwind 2 is essentially a regular Ostwind with an extra gun. That is literally the only difference other than the extra crew member, because you get an extra crew member. You have now 6 Hansers in this vehicle. Now the survivability goes up, but yeah, this vehicle really suffers when it comes to ammo racks, as the Wirbelwind and the Ostwind do. And if you look at the regular Ostwind, you get 1,000 rounds with just a single gun. Now we do get obviously very similar gun to the Flak 43 that's on the Ostwind. We get the Flak 44, which I think is just the designation for the double barrels. I'm not entirely sure. But why does this thing need to be in the game? Because the Corellian was doing the job just fine, and if anything, it does it better. Because, well, yes, it's on a Panther chassis, and yes, it's at one whole BR higher. But hear me out here, right? I'm not being funny, right? We have the Flak Panther 1, 38, and the STKFC, but it's when it comes to these three. Now, I know there's an additional SPA that they could put in the game called the Wirbelwind, I think it's called. It's like this Panzer IV with like this, like the fold down side skirts and stuff, very similar to a VFW, but it had an AA gun on it. I can't remember what caliber. I think it was a 37. But personally, I would have put the Ostwind up a BR a bit. The Wirbelwind, well, in fact, no, screw the Ostwind. The Ostwind could stay. In fact, if anything, the Ostwind could go down due to its penetration being nerfed. The Wirbelwind could easily go up. And then, obviously, even though we have the Ostwind 2 in game, I'm going to use it for the example. You could have the Wirbelwagen before the Ostwind, let's say, in fact, no, after the Ostwind, it would make more sense due to the date. Well, in fact, no, technically the Wirbelwagen came before the Ostwind, so the Ostwind could maybe stay at its BR, and the Wirbelwagen could be 3.7 with its 37mm. But then the Wirbelwind could easily be at the higher tiers, and obviously you'd have the Flak Panzer 341 after the Ostwind 2, which we now have in game. So to put it simply, have the Ostwind 2 in the game, but keep the Flak Panzer in, keep the Panther in, and keep the Tiger 2 in, which I haven't even finished researching yet. But yeah, it's just been a one whole big clusterfuck recently of just Gaijin doing things wrong, and I can't agree with it because like yeah, it's just a wrong move. Now it says 250 shots per minute. That is for each barrel, so you get 500 rounds a minute if you keep on firing. The guns do overheat, so you're gonna watch for that. But to be honest, I never had the guns overheat on me, so I can't say how many shots you can actually fire before they overheat. Reload rate of 0.3 seconds. That gets better to like 0.2 with an expert crew, I believe. Yeah, 0.24 seconds. At the moment, mine's on 0.26 seconds. So that gives you an idea of how fast this thing reloads. Bear in mind, it's two guns, each with their own belt or their own clip fed, shall we say. And yeah. But having the extra crew member does come in handy. Let's just say that. So like I say, this thing is just a bit of a pointless upgrade. Obviously, the armor is exactly the same as the Ostwind, except it has an MG34 that now works, even though you can't exactly use it. In terms of belts, because it is fixed forward firing, by the way, just 7.92 is. In terms of belts, just use default the whole way. That's what I did. Saves you a lot of lions and saves you a lot of pressure of unlocking the belts to last. Let's quickly go over the stats of the vehicle, and to be honest, it's just another AA, so 12 deaths, 51 air kills, 23 ground targets, most of which were M18s. So, yeah, I'm really sorry to say this to German players, but I think this thing's a bit of a pointless upgrade. There's not need for it when the Wirbelwind just does everything better, minus, shall we say, the rounds hitting and one-shotting. The Wirbelwind, yes, it has 4 cannons, but they're not always going to one-shot. Whilst the Ostwind II has two 37mm and can continue to do that. But yeah, I really think the BRs of the German SPA really need to be reworked because if anything, the Wirbelwind could easily go up in BR. Maybe even sit where the Ostwind II is now. But anyway, let's jump into the battle and let's see what I got up to in the Ostwind II. Like I say though, this thing is... I'm not happy with this thing's BR. It should not be at 5.7 in my personal opinion. Yes, it has a very high rate of fire, but at the same time, it has 49mm of penetration on its rounds. The Wirbelwind gets 64. That doesn't seem like much of an upgrade, but for most of the American tanks that you're going to be able to see at these BRs, and some of the Russian tanks, that can make a big difference. So obviously, at this point, the game's just started, it's on port number of cease, or however you say it. And well, those two just had a bit of a fun time. And my objective here is to get to the A point and, well, start capping it and stuff like that. That's what I wanted to do, at least. So, I believe it's a Chinese M18 on that team. Yeah, there's a Chinese M18 on that team, and he's just going to rush right to the spot, or to the cap. Here he is. M18 players get a bad rep anyway, and well, the Chinese M18 players are no exception. Because, well, he's just going to rush right in, and all he's going to do, well, he's not going to wait for me or the Panther, he's just going to rush ahead. And well, the Panther actually stops to wait, but the M18, does he fuck, he just goes right in. So I dropped some artillery on a very well-known M18 rush point with smoke rounds. Obviously I start moving up. But obviously the M18 didn't wait, and well, yeah, not exactly useful, but at least I got into the cap and I got some cap points out of it. So I can't say too much about that guy, but even then, we had heavy tanks coming down. They matter more than mediums and tank destroyers, and even an SVAA. I'd rather wait for heavies personally, but no, M18 players, always arseholes. So, yeah. So at this point, I want to move up and help my team a bit. At least that's the intention. And with the guns this thing has, yes, it has two 37mm, but the only thing I'm going to be able to kill on the enemy team, and the M18s and the two M22s. Don't ask what I'm doing here, I'm just clearing the walls so that my team can see a bit better. And well, with the rate of fire in this thing, you can afford to do that. Let's just say that. But yeah, I really don't get why this thing is at 5.7, yet the Wirbelwind has double the guns, has a much higher rate of fire, and has better armor-piercing characteristics. So, guys, for the love of God, work the BRs. You probably won't because you're bloody useless at working anything. But for the love of God, this thing should not be at 5.7. And that's not a joke, by the way. So at this point, I was thinking, I'm going to retreat back into cover, but then I spot an M18, well, a tank destroyer, which I knew immediately was an M18. And I think, okay, I'll go in and see if I can deal with him. Luckily for me, the M18 is about to come around the corner on the left-hand side, which I actually spot. And well, if there's one thing the Ostwind II can do, it is tear the living shit out of M18s. First skill. When I actually started spading this tank, I really was struggling to get anything good for it. Like, there was just that little that was occurring in the battles. It was just maybe 1 or 2 kills, the odd death now and again, which is why I had 12 deaths, most of which were from revenge killers. And it was just one of those instances where I thought, like, why would I bother with this thing when I could just play the Wirbelwind, which I actually prefer playing the Wirbelwind over an Ostwind, because the Ostwind's guns are surprisingly hard to account for. You know when you're so used to bofers, and then you use twin 37s on an Ostwind, and yet you're a master of the bofers, it really is a pain in the bum, let's just say. So I think I got a hit on that guy? No, I didn't. And he goes in and he manages to destroy a Panther. You can see what I mean though, like the guns can be hard to lead. So at this point the Hellcat spots me. What's cute is he tried to back up into cover, but not with the APHE rounds this thing has. And that's my second tank kill. But here comes the P47. And well, he was already dead. A P38L shot him down, a Chinese P38. But I just shot him down just to make sure, because obviously I didn't know. So at this point, obviously I'm moving up into a better position for me to support my team. Obviously with me able to take out lighter vehicles much faster than anyone else, that comes in handy, and obviously with me having anti-aircraft capability in this thing, because it is an anti-aircraft, for those of you that are not paying attention. Yeah. I mean, you could use it as a pseudo-tank destroyer, but I guarantee you it will not go well. So at this point, I drop artillery on the A point, because well, do you remember, for those of you eagle-eyed viewers, did you spot the M22s in the back in the forest? Yeah, they've just rushed the A point. They've somehow managed to sneak round. Now there's a Type 65 anti-aircraft that's currently dealing with, or trying to deal with the M22s. They've rushed the A point and have managed to cap it. Now these guys were not on comms, they were not on comms as far as I'm aware. They were just crazy M22 drivers, and well, they're going to have a very bad visit from Uncle Ostwind. But yeah, they're about to have a very bad visit from Uncle Ostwind, because he's going to give them a good spanking in a moment. Obviously, I'm not sure what's at the A point, so I'm thinking, okay, I'll take this carefully. I'm going to wait for team support. And sure enough, a teammate is actually coming my way, so that's always nice. A Panther A is coming to help me out. Unbeknownst to the Panther though, he doesn't know what's in there. But to be honest, neither did I at the time. But yeah, those of you eagle-eyed viewers, you might have spotted the M22s in the forest. It's those guys. P47 comes at me. The 50 cals ain't gonna pen with tracer rounds on the turret. That's where this thing has good armor. The turret armor is actually pretty nice. There you can just see the rate of fire from these 37s. They are really painful to any aircraft. And you can hear the 37s going off now. So the Panther manages to kill one of the M22s. And at this point, I decide, okay, I'm going to try and move in here. The Panther now deals with the second M22, I believe. In fact, no, I don't think he did. Did he do the... Did he do the second M22? I don't think he did. Obviously, I'm moving into gap at this point. Did he do the... Yeah, he did. Okay. I thought he didn't. Terribly sorry about that. I don't know why I thought that I got the kill on the M22, because, well, clearly I didn't, because the Panther dealt with it, except I didn't see it in the kill feed, but whatever. So this P63, he starts coming towards me, and, well, the Underleague champion, well, you might want to move, buddy, because this thing will rip you apart. Even with my crap aim. I'm not the best aimer with this thing, just a heads up. So if you ever see me skin grinding this thing, which I probably won't for quite some time, you're going to want to advise that I have crap aim, but sometimes my crap aim does come in handy, so that's my second air kill. Lovely jubbly. To be honest, that was a lucky shot. If I'm going to say anything, that was a lucky shot. So, P47D, fully loaded up with bombs, and he also has some rockets. He drops some bombs at me, but misses by a country mile. He then goes for a attack run with his tracer rounds. Again, tracer rounds is not going to pen the Ostwind's turret. At this point, a B-17EL has dropped on the A point with two 2,000 pound bombs, and well, he missed. I actually thought it was a PE-8, but then I remembered, oh yeah, the Russians are on our team. I didn't identify it as a B-17 at the time. But yeah, this is an interesting battle, let's just say, and it's going to get more and more interesting as we get towards the end. But I can't wait to finish with the Flak Panzer IV chassis, because I really want to I really want to get the Kugel Blitz going once I start spading the 6-7 German tanks, because I'm going to get around to those soon enough. I'm working on the 6-0 Panthers at the moment. I like the F, let's just say. I like the F. That smart term turret is really nice, I have to say that. I mean, it's not going to stop everything, but it's a really nice turret, so I can't really complain. So at this point, I start getting on a move, and, well, I'm going to jump ahead, because at that point, I actually pull over, because, well, I was getting nagged, let's just say. My mother was being a pain in the ass, and that's putting it politely. So I pulled over briefly there, just to, like, see what she wanted or shit like that, because you get that, unfortunately. And I continue moving up to support my team. Now, it's around about this point when my team is actually going to start to struggle. At that point, I turned on my music, because, well, I didn't have any music on, which is surprising, knowing me, but I was actually quick enough to stop that there, to show you. There was an M18 that tried to flank. It was Bear Baby Bear, one of the P-47s that tried to bomb me earlier on. And that is where I take a big fat smack from a 76mm Sherman. I believe it was Red Zudem Head, or however you say that. And he takes out technically both gun breachers and 4 Hansers. Yeah, he took out 4 Hansers. I mean, it's fine. Hans is a tough man. He'll take it like a champ. He'll be back in the fight before you know it. Just give him till next game. So at this point, I pull over to repair both cannon breaches. Obviously, one of them is red and one of them is black, so you can guess which one's only going to be firing for a limited amount of time, and it isn't the left one. And here's a reference for those that you won't probably get because you have no TV or like old knowledge of TV shows and stuff. I put the left one in the bin. Let's see if anyone gets that. If you don't, I'll answer it in the comments below if you're not too sure. Yeah. That's the one TV/DVD quote that I'm going to be saying today, and that's put the left one in the bin. See if you remember what show it's from. Oh, and for those of you American viewers, you probably won't get it because, well, it's a British TV show. And that is where, well, was an F6F tried to rocket me and bomb an Su-85, which he got half the job. I mean, he killed the Su-85. But yeah, he kind of crashed, so that isn't much. Well, it's not exactly safe. So at this point, C starts getting capped, and obviously I'm looking to see what it is. I knew it was an M18 just by looking at it, but obviously he's going to beat me to the trigger because his gun's already stabilized. And obviously, even though the armor's on the Ostwind is actually quite thick, yeah, it's because it's 80mm on the front, 30 on the sides, and 20 at the rear, and then the turret is 25 all the way around except for the top, which is open top. And yeah, the armor is actually pretty solid on this thing. It protects against 50 cals really nicely. It protects against some light anti-tank rounds quite nicely. But yeah. So see, I sit here waiting for the M18 to come out, but he doesn't, and my teammates clean his clock. It's at this point, however, obviously, I've checked that Sherman. That's the guy who shot me in the turret, by the way. In fact, no, it isn't. He's still alive, the M4A3. You'll be seeing him in a moment, actually. But at this point, I'm thinking, should I push to the C point and get a spare retard? It's at that moment when a jumbo takes out the Stug 3F that's currently on the point. So I'm thinking, okay, we'll use this thing's pretty good mobility. It isn't great when stock, is all I'll say. And I spotted the Sherman that actually smacked me in the turret earlier on. This is where it gets funny though. Now, before I continue, Raptor, close your eyes. An M15A1 half-track appears right in front of me. Twin 37s, and well, nothing left of that poor vehicle. And here's another instance where he should close his eyes. Eviscerated the Sherman that sniped me in the flipping turret. And that's my 5th kill. And I believe that's actually my last kill in this thing, if I remember rightly. Is it my last? I don't remember. But I think it's one of my last kills, if not the last kills. But obviously at this point, my team is really struggling for vehicles. I mean, if an Ostwind's having to go and do this, you know your team's desperate. But they keep spawning in Shermans and heavy tanks, and the only fast vehicle that can actually do it is the Walker Bulldog, who's been ripping the crap out of my team for the whole game. He's got 5 kills, so congrats to you, mate, Mr. WWW1973. But unfortunately for the Americans, they just don't have the vehicles, so we end up winning. Like I say though, if you're going to be using an SPA in your high tier lineup, just use the Wirbelwind. It's just better in every way, personally. Yes, you suffer with a longer reload, but at the end of the day, I just think the Wirbelwind is far more useful. But anyway, I'll let you guys off. I hope you enjoyed today's review on the Ostwind II, and I will see you all on the next one.